Let me unmute the desktop audio. And there we go. Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Geekday podcast. We turn your weekday into a geek day. I'm one of your hosts, Robert Tijerina, and with me, of course, as always, we have the new face of the Geekday podcast and Miss Popceptive herself, Miss Natalie Ibarra. Nat, how you doing today?
Nice. I like that rolling of the R's.
Thank you.
People don't usually
Very
do
spicy.
that.
It's the spice,
Yeah, very
yeah.
spicy.
When we have names like ours, we have to throw that spice in there, just a little bit, just a little bit. Also with us today, as always, we have the Dark Soul, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Dan Gomez. Dan, how you doing, man?
Not doing too bad, not too bad. Been working a whole lot still, as always, and that shirt you're wearing is giving me PTSD, and I really don't appreciate it.
Oh man, it has been a day. We had a little. Well, thank you for joining us, guys. We know we had problems with last week. I think literally everywhere we just all needed like a day. My mic broke, and then what's called? I was trying to do a stream for Fall Guys. We're gonna talk about it in a little bit, and my PC was like dropping frames like every other frame, so that was bad. And then I know
Ooh.
Nat was out of town, and then
Was.
Dan had been working to the bone, so we're just like, let's treat ourselves. Let's
Take a day.
he can't really hear them, so let's go ahead and turn y'all guys just up a little bit. All right, let me know if you can hear them a little bit now. But anyways, guys, what have y'all guys been watching? What have y'all been doing this week? Or these past 2 weeks?
Well,
I mean, we had a lot of, we
yeah.
really had a lot of time.
I know. I feel like we had a lot of time, and I was thinking about like, oh, I should probably think about stuff that I might say on the podcast, but I couldn't think of anything, and I don't know. I feel like I just wasted my two.
I
two
feel
weeks.
that.
That is
2 week
too
hiatus.
relatable.
Yeah.
Hashtag too relatable.
Yes, but I remembered that I watched and finished. I binged the Harley Quinn series that is on HBO. It got added to HBO about 2 weeks ago, and so right when it dropped, I binged the whole thing. I had been waiting, but I did not want to pay for that another streaming service. So they added it on here, and oh my gosh, have you guys not seen this show?
I've seen clips of it.
haven't.
I've seen clips of it, and it looks so good. It
It
looks
is
so
so
good.
good. 10 out of 10. Highly recommend. It's amazing. Like, it really. The show is just so funny and just chaotic and really unfiltered, and it's just fantastic. And I just think that there's, like, definitely moments in the show where I'm just shook to my core about, like, oh wow, like, this. It's there, like, nothing is off limits in this show. And then it's just very compelling, and I think it's a DC universe, DC characters that that we've known in the past, like King Shark and
Yeah.
Clayface and the Riddler and the Joker and all them, but portrayed so different from portrayals that like I'm used to, and so I think it's very fresh, and I just have fallen in love with all of these characters, and I'm just obsessed with it. And you guys need to watch it so that way I can talk to y'all about it.
Yeah, I'm looking at the cast list. I was like, is that Tara Strong as Harley Quinn? And I was like, no. I mean, she did that in the past. It's Haley Kuko.
Yeah.
She's the girlfriend of Leonard in
Leonard,
The
yeah,
Big
from
Bang
Big
Theory.
Bang.
And I'm
Mhm.
looking at that right now. I'm like, holy crap, that looks so different. Like that sounds like such a different like take of
It's
like what I would have gone.
Yeah, and her sister actually comes out in the show. She voices later on in the series. I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but Batgirl comes out in the series
Okay.
later on, and so her sister, I believe, is the voice of Batgirl. So I
Oh
thought that
wow.
was pretty cool. Yes.
Twitch categories Fall Guys. LMAO. Let me fix that also. Dan, what about you, man?
I also have wasted a whole lot of time, but no, I actually did start my subscription to HBO Max.
Hell yeah, you did.
And
Perfect. Now you can.
yeah, no, exactly, yeah. I do want to watch that. I am totally gonna watch the first episode of Lovecraft Country after the show, because I haven't gotten around to that, but I was told by our good friend Joe that it is phenomenal. So
Yeah.
I am definitely gonna get to that. I did actually see an episode of what's the name of the show? It's the same show. It's a show by the same guy who did Regular Show, JG Quintel.
Oh, I know what you're talking
It's,
about.
um,
Um,
Is it
Oh,
the
God.
Infinity
Good
Train
enough.
or-
It's
Good
called
Enough.
like Good Enough
Yeah,
or
something
something
like
like
that.
that. Yeah, I saw the first half of because like it's the 2 15-minute episodes per episode. So I saw the first one, and it's totally like regular show on like cocaine. It's
It
like
looks like
really,
that.
yeah, it's fast paced. It's pretty funny and very unfiltered.
I feel like
It's
that show is
definitely
already partially on cocaine.
yeah, no, definitely.
That's
But,
another show that I've been wanting to see. I've actually never seen regular show at all. Like, there's like,
Really?
yeah, there's mentions of it like in our friend group all the time, but
yeah,
I've literally never seen an episode of it.
I'd recommend it. My brother's actually seen the whole thing through, and he said it's like one of the best things ever made. So, yeah,
All
I'd
right,
say
best
give
things
it a watch.
ever made, huh? Wow.
Yeah.
I'll check it out. Same here on this side. Like, I didn't really watch a whole lot of stuff. I set up my my surround sound, so I watched like Baby Driver to like check that out. But I have been playing the hell out of some video games.
Ooh.
I think I said like a while ago that I was playing Stick of Truth. I beat that. I have 2 achievements left in that. But I also beat The Fractured Butthole. It's another South Park game that is absolutely hilarious. I got all the achievements in that, and then I finished all of the I finished Yakuza 0, which is, oh my god, like if you have
Yeah,
not
I saw you
played,
posting that on Twitter. You were all crying all over the place.
it is like the way that have y'all guys ever like seen anything out of Yakuza besides the stuff that I tweet, like the really random
No,
stuff?
your tweets were my introduction.
Okay, well,
I've
so
seen
so Yakuza 0 is like, it's a reboot of a franchise. We're going to talk a lot about reboots in a little bit. But it's a reboot of the Yakuza franchise. So it's a prequel to the first Yakuza game. And so it follows 2 different protagonists. Kiru, who lives in Tokyo and is kicked out of his Yakuza family because he's framed for a murder. So basically that whole beginning of his story is him trying to figure out who framed him for his murder. And then on the other side in Osaka, you have Majima, who is also kicked out of the Yakuza, but for basically questioning the authority of the Yakuza. So he has to fight his way back in by carrying out a very very violent act. And it's like his whole story is, can he what's it called? My dog is trying to get out.
nice.
Link.
He's trying to decide, like, can I do this, can I not do this, what is it gonna make me if I do this, whatever, blah blah blah. And then like it's these very dark, very like realistic things that I honestly, I speak so highly of Xbox Game Pass because I'm an Xbox person. I'm only in it because basically the achievement numbers or whatever, like achievement score, that's literally the only reason why I'm Xbox. If PlayStation had that, I would be on PlayStation. But no, like so Game Pass is like $15.99. You get Xbox Live Gold, which lets you play online, and then over 100+ games that you can just download and play willy nilly whenever you want. And I would have never honestly tried this game if it wasn't for Xbox Game Pass. But I would definitely recommend it. It's a beat 'em up, so it's like it's a relaxing sort of game where it's just like mash, like X, Y, and B to like basically win. But the just the story behind it's so good. And then if you want to, you can go to a disco. You can race pocket cars. You can do karaoke. I do karaoke a lot in that game. There are some bangers in there, man. I'm telling you. 24 Hour Cinderella, dope. Baka Mitai, dope. Like there's like if you
Take
listen,
your word for it.
yeah, it's like they are bangers. I posted 2 of them on Twitter. You can follow me at I'm Robbie T with 3 E's on Twitter.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. It's man, you gotta do what you gotta do. And then I'm going to, when my PC decides to not want to kill itself, I'm going to stream me basically getting all the collectibles for Yakuza 0. So I'll probably do a stream on here and then a stream on my channel as well. But anyways, do y'all guys have anything else you guys want to talk about? Anything y'all watched?
I do actually.
What's up?
Maybe like last week or so, I was bored and I was scrolling through Disney Plus. I didn't feel like investing in any kind of new show or movie. I was like, what do I feel like rewatching? And I actually rewatched the original Tron movie, and I hadn't seen that in years. And by years, I mean probably like 10 or so.
Jeez.
And man, I don't know if y'all have seen it or seen it anytime recently, but it's a terrible movie in terms of the script and the acting.
Uh-huh.
But what they were able to achieve in 1982, I believe, with the computer generated graphics and kind of just these actors pretending like they were seeing all of these amazing things in front of them. It's crazy. It's crazy to think that they were able to do something like that. And it's not perfect. You watch the movie and there's totally a ton of visual glitches that happen, and it's just a product of the time. But just I don't know. I would say give it a watch, see how they were able to do that, and it's really cool. It's really good stuff. It makes me want to go watch the sequel that came out.
I was about to ask,
Legacy.
were you a fan of the sequel? Because I was. I really like the sequel. It's not the best movie in the world, but like the soundtrack by Daft Punk and like just how different you can see from the 1982 to the 2012 version of the movie, or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh man, like it's a gorgeous movie. I'll give it that.
Yeah. No, I haven't seen it since it came out, and I really do want to go and rewatch Legacy, because I just to remind myself. And I'm looking forward to the inevitable third movie that I hear is in the works, kind of.
Is there?
Yep. It's it's been reported mostly recently that it's supposed to take place because at the end of actually I'm not gonna spoil it if you haven't seen it. Yeah. So basically something really big happens at the end of it, and there's a certain character that they're gonna focus on in the third one. So it's not going to be like the family that was focused on in the first two. It's going to be a third character. So I'm very excited to see that. But I'm also very excited to get to our next segment that we have a lot of fun doing, Geekday Civil War. So last week, I believe Dan and I went 1-1, right? I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, we went 1-1. So that's 3 me, 3 Dan, 4 Nat. And then I don't believe we did a poll this past week. So
we did. We did
do
a poll.
Was it the?
Come on, Rob.
Well, you mean from like 2 weeks ago, correct? Yes.
No, it's the one where we talked about Disney soundtracks. No. What was last week?
Last week was.
Last week was strongest Avenger.
Oh no. Okay, so that was me.
No wait.
No.
Weakest Avenger. Oops.
Yeah.
Most useless.
Most useless.
Oh, okay. See, like I just my brain is all over the place right now.
Oh man.
I won.
Okay, so Nat is 4, then I'm 3, and Dan's 3. If not, someone go back into the VOD and double check.
Yes.
Then we'll do it. I lost count. I'm not Steve Harvey. I can't keep count of this stuff.
I was just thinking about that. How are we keeping track of these?
I was doing it mentally, and then we skipped a week, and I was like, and then this game over, dude. Like, there's nothing left in this brain bank.
Please help us out.
Yes, chat, please keep us accountable.
Or we ourselves could keep count, like actual physical notes.
But we're so busy, Dan. Like we're saying. Like,
yeah. All right. Fine.
All right. So
let the fans do the hard work.
So this week it's gonna be Dan versus Nat, and I get to choose the questions again. And this one, I like doing spicy ones just because I like to hear people's takes on like spicier sort of things. And boy, is this spicy. This is very, very spicy. What's called? So, Nat, we usually let you pick the coin, but I'm gonna let Dan do it this time. So, okay. Dan, heads or tails?
Tails never fails.
Tails never fails.
I've never heard that before. I love that.
Wow,
Always
tails.
Sunny in Philadelphia.
Tails never fails. Dan, you win the coin toss. Would you like to go first or second?
This time I'll go first.
You'll go first. Oh boy,
yes.
Are you gonna go first?
I'm ready to get absolutely flamed by anybody who watches this. Probably.
I already know Josh is probably gonna light you up. But here we go.
What is the first question?
Oh, you're about to hear it. So the first question is, what is the most overrated movie franchise? Okay. That is gonna be the first question. And again, y'all guys had some spicy things that probably both of y'all are gonna get a little bit a little flamed for. But Dan, you get 45 seconds to make your first argument. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Harry Potter. I'm so tired of Harry Potter. I like the movies. They're okay at best. But stupid wizard boy who has nothing but a scar on his forehead survives death himself because of the power of love. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The soundtrack is lackluster, in my opinion. There should not be a whole world built around it at Universal. It does not have that. It's so not that dense. It's very shallow, and I don't think that it deserves all the credit that it's given. It's okay, and that's it.
You have 8 seconds left. Do you want to relinquish the rest of your time?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Wow, you went for my man John Williams like that, huh?
I know. Straight for the throat.
I was like, okay, yeah.
I love John Williams.
Yeah.
But I think the soundtrack for that was just not great.
Kiddo Granger says, Dan, fight me.
Fight me.
What are you going to wave a stick at me? I'll wave my laser sword at you.
All right, Nat, you have an equally very interesting choice that might get more of the men.
Yeah.
Very angry.
I don't know.
Well, I'm already getting hated in the chat.
This is true. Rustin said, "We throwing hands," and then your mom put down. I mean, Nat's mom put thumbs down emojis. He be a Death
How
Eater.
angry we can make the chat, Dan.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, let's do it. Let's get spicy today.
I love this.
Let's see how mad we can get now.
All right. 100% wrong. Nat, your mom is so angry. All right.
My mom is the biggest Harry Potter. My mom and my sister, they are huge Harry. This is a Harry Potter household.
All right, Nat, you get 45 seconds. What is the most overrated movie franchise? In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so for me, when the first thing that came to mind when I thought of the most overrated movie franchise, it was The Fast and the Furious. It is just such an oversaturated franchise that it has 8 films in the actual franchise. 2 more are currently planned, and there are like 3 spin-off series, and each and every one of them are just not good at all. It's just a film that, it feels like it's cheating audiences. It's the same thing. The plots are just really secondary. I feel like kind of just secondhand, third-hand renditions of what's come before.
Stop. That is your time.
I only have one person saying that I'm wrong. Okay.
So far, Rustin is the only one that says, dang, Nat wrong too. Man, we're not doing great. So we have Harry Potter. I know. We have
Nobody's
Harry Potter
vote in the polls.
versus Fast and the Furious. This one's going to be spicy in the polls. Oh, man, I would love to see which one. Wow, both very interesting picks. And I think, Dan, immediately, literally immediately, I texted you back, and I was like, I love the take.
Yeah.
Dan, you have 30 seconds as a rebuttal. Why is why is Harry Potter the most overrated movie franchise? In 3, 2, 1, go.
People know what they're getting into with Fast and the Furious. They know it's not a good movie. They just go for the big explosions and the fast cars. That's it. With Harry Potter, people get so invested in a lackluster story with very bad. The villains are not compelling whatsoever. They're bad just for the sake of being bad. There's no depth to them, and people like to compare modern day politics to the things happening in the story when the two have nothing to do with one another. It's blander. There's no substance.
All right, stop.
And all right.
It kind of sounded like you were going a little more towards Fast and Furious there. But
yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh,
look,
wow.
I can't do my anti-Harry Potter thesis in 30 seconds.
Okay?
You're
right.
Also, he's trying to protect us, Rob. He's trying to protect us protect the podcast.
I mean, that's true, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest Harry Potter fan in the world either. But we'll talk about that after this.
I like the movies, but
hey, that butterbeer is
terrible. All right. Anyway,
it's pretty bad. It's
all
pretty
right.
bad.
Nat loves diabetes is what I'm finding out today on the podcast. JK is rolling over to jump Dan. He who must not be named is trying to find immortality by murder. I guess. All right. Nat, why is The Fast and the Furious the most overrated movie franchise? In 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, so I feel the plot of Harry Potter has more substance than the plots of the Fast and the Furious. I feel like the Fast and the Furious is just a tired soap opera with some importance, kind of highlights the importance of family, and then just dramatic cars. Cars go fast, and people are fighting, different groups are fighting against each other. It just feels routine, and it's really cheating audiences out of the movie-going experience. Harry Potter really was able to kind of create this world that millions of
Stop.
people fell in love with.
All right. Wow. Okay. Well, first off, I want to see what chat thinks. Chat, do you believe Harry Potter is the most overrated, or do you believe that Fast and the Furious is? Go ahead and put it in there because I really want to know. Obviously, I have my own personal biases about this. The I would say everything Fast and Furious. Honestly,
sure.
if they're like drive this Camaro around this amusement park, I'd be like, bet, like give me the keys.
Like, all right, grab the whole family. We're gonna get you all in a Camaro, but the Camaro's gonna be on a plane. You have to drive the car out of the plane and hope you survive.
Oh my gosh.
And honestly, I am not the biggest fan of Harry Potter at all. I think my favorite is I can't even think of it. Goblet of Fire. I love Goblet of Fire a lot. That's like pinnacle Harry Potter to me. But when the Fantastic Beasts movies came around, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is not good. No. The second movie, The Crimes of Grindelwald, is literally one of the most boring, annoying pieces of trash cinema I've ever seen in my entire life. And that is a spicy
what
take.
Happens in that one?
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. There it is.
It
what happened in that one?
On the other hand, Fast and the Furious, they are popcorn movies, and that's all you can really give to them. Yeah, it's just like, okay, who can we get now for this one? Okay, we killed off this character, but let's bring him back. Let's see. So I see Josh says Fast and Furious 100% worse. Both, but Fast and the Furious if I had to choose, with the exception of Tokyo Drift. Both are great, but Harry Potter books are great, so I'd pick it. Okay, so I think I've come to my final decision. Based on arguments alone, I'm gonna have to go with The Fast and the Furious is the most overrated movie franchise. Mostly because Dan, you kind of started going over to the Fast and the Furious side a little bit in your argument. You're like, they're boring, blah blah blah, and I was like, I mean, yeah, you're kind of fighting for that sort of thing. But Dan, also all your points about, there's no really depth and stuff like that to these movies. And then like he's saved by the power of love. Also, has always bothered me.
I hate that so much.
You hate love?
Yes. And Aziz is very committed 1-year relationship. My man.
Yes, 1 year, a couple days ago.
Can I get some happy anniversaries in chat, please? Happy anniversary. Oh, Mickey just said, Fast and Furious is far worse movies. They are such cringy waste of time. At least Harry Potter is enjoyable.
I had it with Fast and Furious. And also those contracts. I didn't even talk about those contracts that are in that apparently the actors have.
Oh, yeah, they can't, like, Vin Diesel.
Lose.
Yeah, Vin Diesel and The Rock can't lose to each other. All right, so the next question is, and it's something we're going to be talking about literally right after this, and I was very excited to see this because I don't think it's going to be good. But the next question for the Geekday Civil War is, what TV show or movie deserves a reboot? Because there's a lot of reboot news going around right now. Let's see. Nat, you won last round. So, heads or tails?
I'll do heads.
Heads? Okay. Drum roll, please. Wow, heads it is. Heads it is. Wow.
Hey.
There we go. So, Nat, would you like to go first or second?
I'll let Dan go first.
All right.
I'm interested in hearing what he has to say.
Right. Daniel's first. Okay, so Dan, what TV show or movie deserves a reboot? In 3, 2, 1, go.
So one of my favorite horror movies ever is The Thing by John Carpenter. And he also made another movie which I feel is a little bit less known. It's called They Live. And that movie is super not good, but the idea behind it is really good. And I think that rebooting something with that concept, like there's these things that are taking over society, they're the wealthy and they're hiding in plain sight, that's very relevant to now, I would think. And I think doing like a new version of that with more action, better acting, maybe a better script would be the perfect thing to come out within this coming decade.
Yeah, 4 seconds, 3, 2, 1, and done. Okay. They Live. I'm going to ask for a little bit more clarification because I'm not smart. and I don't know exactly what it is, but we'll get to that. I'll give you a little bit. I'll give you like 5 more seconds just so I can know what it is because yeah, I'm not too. I don't want to judge you off something that I don't know about.
Okay.
So
It's fair. It's fair.
Nat, what television show or movie deserves a reboot? Also, Jazz Josh says any show will be fine as long as CW doesn't touch it. I
Chaz
believe
does
that.
not
Wow.
like the CW.
So the Geekday podcast is not like the CW either, and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because we were showing a trailer back in the original, the season 1 of the podcast, and we immediately got banned off of Facebook because we showed a trailer. So we don't stand for CW or CBS in this house because those are the two ones that took us down immediately. So, anyways, that's just me airing out my own
I'll be a
grievances.
closet CW fan.
Heard that. All right. All right. So, Nat, what TV show or movie deserves a reboot? In 3, 2, 1, go.
When you asked me this question, the first thing that came to mind was The Goonies. It's a cult classic. It's really just funny. It's entertaining. It's an adventure movie that just I think about it and I just feel all warm and fuzzy inside because it's just something that everybody loves. It has a little bit of everything. It has pirates, it has kind of like an Indiana Jones treasure hunt, monsters, it's an adventure, and also it's a coming of age drama. And I think that this film is over 35 years old, and I just think it's time that, everybody, it's a cult classic, it's still really popular, and it has so many people that have fallen in love with it. It's time for a new generation of
Stop.
Goonies.
All right. So, The Goonies versus They Live. Two very different genres. And both, honestly, very interesting takes. That's what I was very excited to talk about this one today because honestly, like I never even thought about the Goonies as being. What's up, Dan? What can I do for you, bud?
May I give the audience some context on They Live if they don't know the movie?
Yes.
Before my rebuttal.
Yeah,
Okay,
go
cool.
ahead.
Okay, so They Live is that movie where the guy is holding the shotgun with sunglasses on. And he says, "I've come to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum." And the premise of the movie is basically he has these sunglasses that let him see these like monstrous aliens that control society. They're like the weird teeth, and everything behind them says like obey, consume, stay asleep. You've seen it before. You've seen they're like blue and red aliens.
Okay.
And it's just him going like trying to uncover everything and
So kind of like
stop them.
like the Spiderwick Chronicles, but but more epic is what I'm hearing. Because like, don't they have like
Spider Chronicles was awesome.
they have like
Wait,
a stained
hold up.
glass?
They have a stone.
I can't hear you guys.
Oh no, Dan. But so let's check the chat right now while we have time.
Yes,
so
even my own mother
says
voted
they
against
they live with, well, I mean Mickey, Dan's girlfriend, voted against him in the last one. So
I see.
what's it called? So yeah,
I've never even heard her talk about this movie. I
They
like
Live
the
with-
Geekday podcast brought to you by the CW.
that's Dan. And then way back Zach
Hang on,
says,
guys. I can't hear you. Technical difficulties.
"You're good, man."
You're good.
What's it called? They so then way back Zach says, "Gotta say,
It'll be
They Live
worth it.
sounds like it'll be worth a reboot." Absolutely,
Thanks.
yeah.
That is
uh,
also my brother. My family
yeah.
is against me currently right now.
Hey, it's fine. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. It's Civil War. That's
Jazz says the Spider Chronicles is fire, and I agree with that.
I saw the movie. I didn't read the books or anything like that, but that's
Ooh,
the one.
I read the books after. I think I read the
All
books
right,
after the movie.
Now I can hear you guys.
Awesome.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
You're good.
We're
We're
just
talking about this.
Spider Chronicles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I was saying that basically what I'm hearing is that it sounds like it's the Spiderwick Chronicles, but a little bit like more epic,
More
like
serious,
more adult and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Larry, I miss you and I love you. Let's see. Not at all like Spider. Not at all like the Spiderwick Chronicles. I'm weak. Okay, so Dan, you gave us a little bit of context for I wasn't say the Spiderwick Chronicles for They Live. So with that, I'm gonna give you your 30-second rebuttal.
Cool.
So all right, Dan, why does They Live deserve to get a reboot over The Goonies? In 3, 2, 1, go.
They Live has horrible acting. It's awful. It's god awful. But the script behind it, the idea behind it is super good and super relevant. The Goonies is a classic. You can sit down and watch that movie right now and have a great time, not worry about the acting or anything like that. I feel like if it if something needs a reboot, it's because of bad acting or a bad script, bad whatever came before it. And the Goonies is perfect, I think, the way that it is. Just look at Ghostbusters. Just look at Spider-Man. Even
All right, stop. I gave you an extra 1 second, so Nat, you get 31 seconds. That's my bad.
All right.
Sorry, everyone. Sorry, everyone in chat. I failed you. It was my fault. A terrible host. All right, Nat. Why does the Goonies deserve a reboot over They Live? In 3, 2, 1, go.
I would have to disagree. I think that if The Goonies was rebooted today, audiences would just eat it up. It's a cult classic. People would love to see more of The Goonies. If you look online, people are always talking about The Goonies 2. Why did they never do a Goonies Part 2? And I think right now it's kind of a resurgence of audiences kind of craving a gang of misfit kids, kind of having an adventure. We had It, we have Stranger Things. And so I think the fact that also it's really like 80s vibe really helps its case. That's really popular right now. And I think with the technology that we have, we could even make the adventure and like up it by tenfold. There could be
Stop. I lost track of time also. I gave you like an extra 3 seconds. That's my bad. I'm so invested in y'all's arguments. I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. And I look down and it's like 35 seconds. I'm like, oh God, no.
Oh my gosh. Also, I want to say Jazz Joss is my cousin, which I found out, and she is voting against me as well.
Damn, man, your family does not like you, huh?
From my throat.
Okay, so based off of the arguments. Oh, Dan, by the way, Larimar says, Daniel, I love you and I miss you too. That's just throwing that out there to you.
Is that Lori? Oh, hi, Lori.
Yeah. See, Jess Jaw says, I think if someone were to choose to reboot the Goonies, it'd be for the money, and then you can't beat a classic truffle shuffle from Paradox Theory. So the way that I'm going to do this is basically it's not going to be off of financials, kind of like what Jazz Jaw says. I feel like if someone did reboot the Goonies, I don't think it would have the exact same magic that it had in the 80s. It had an amazing cast. You had the kid from Indiana Jones Temple of Doom, Short Round. Then you had, what's it called? Oh, God, what's his name? I was like Kurt Russell, but that's not it. You have Josh Brolin that's in there. You have, what's it called? Patrick Swayze's in there. You have this like classic cast of characters that it would probably be like Finn Wolfhard and Millie Bobby. It would literally be the It Kids and it'd be the It Kids. And I'm kind of tired of seeing their faces everywhere. But that's just me. I'm just cynical. I don't. But and then with They Live, I feel like that would be a story that would be really interesting because from what I've seen about it, it's kind of like a B movie horror like dark comedy sort of thing. That's the kind of vibe that I'm getting off of it. And I don't think we've had a really good one of those in a long time. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Dan's They Live because that just sounds like, honestly, a better sell to me. I'm sure that it probably wouldn't bring as much as the audience would be for the Goonies, but I think at the end of the day, it would be the better movie. So Dan wins that round. So currently, we are looking at Nat with 5 points, Dan with 4 points, and then me in the last holding my microphone because I broke my mic stand at 3 points. So also make sure, guys, at the end of the show, we're going to post it on Twitter. I think we're going to do the first one, which is the most overrated, because I think that one's going to be very spicy. So,
if I can just say one more thing about that.
Yes, go ahead.
I think a lot of people misinterpreted the question. It seems like people were saying which is the worst. The question was which is the worst series, but the question is which is the most overrated series.
This is correct.
So keep that in mind.
We'll make sure to post this clip with the poll, just so we.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah, just like Dan's little PSA. Please vote with like your. Please vote with like your brain, not your heart.
Yes, but exactly.
Yes.
Be logical.
Be logical. So yeah, make sure to go and follow us on Twitter right after the show. It's at the Geekday Podcast on Twitter. Also follow us on Instagram. We have an Instagram now. There's nothing on it yet because we don't know what's put on it. But go ahead and follow us on there because we're going to try to start putting stuff on there. At Facebook at Break Time Productions. But guys, now that we're done with the Civil War, I want for us to come back together. Let's love each other again. Let's hug each other. Everyone,
I know I'm sweating over here.
Everyone hug. Thank you, Dan. I need your hug. Dan, thank you. All right, we're all hugging now. For people that are listening, we hugged over webcam. But
social distancing.
COVID.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the reason. And we're going to go ahead and jump right into our news with our first topic, which has to do with the reboot. So actually about a week ago, news came out about a brand new version of The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They released like a minute-long teaser trailer, and I'm going to read a little bit about it. So I also want to thank Nat for making this document because she wanted to do it, and I was like, oh, thank God. I was in the middle of a Fall Guys game, so. But yes, the Fresh Prince.
Dubs.
Oh, I have not. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air will be coming back as a reboot. However, it will look very different from the lighthearted 90s sitcom we know and love. The new version will be based off a viral YouTube trailer that reimagined the series as a hard-hitting drama. Smith's company Westbrook Studios will make it with Universal TV, while Netflix, HBO Max, and Peacock are among the platforms bidding to stream. Original creators Andy and Susan Borowitz will serve as executive producers, and Will Smith as Will Smith an original. Wait, what? And Will Smith as an executive producer. Quincy Jones. I can't read what you wrote, Nat. But I'm assuming
so sorry.
it's okay. I'm assuming that Will Smith, Quincy Jones, and Benny Medina will also be executive producers on this show. So, did y'all guys get a chance to see the trailer? I know I didn't put a link in it or anything like that, like I usually do, but
I actually didn't even know there was a trailer.
Yeah, they dropped the trailer like literally randomly. Like it was out of nowhere. Yeah. There was like no conversation really about this show being made. And literally like one day I was just like scrolling on and IGN popped it up on my screen and it was like, hey, we're doing a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reboot, and it's it's not a comedy, it's a dark thing. And I know people have been wondering, it's kind of been in the whispers, like a Fresh Prince reboot, but with like Will Smith as a dad with like a kid, and he like basically like everything nowadays is Fresh Prince entanglement.
Entanglement.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Will Smith.
He
but
needs this win.
he needs this win. So I'm gonna
get
talk
an F for Will Smith.
I know for Will Smith's marriage. I'm sorry. I don't know if you've seen the trailer, Dan. Honestly, after this, you need to watch it because it like I don't really have any confidence in it, to be honest. I'm sure it's going to be very interesting, but I didn't. Thank you. I do believe that there's not going to be a lot of want for this. That's what I believe. Like I don't see like this needing to be made, and especially in the way that it's going to make it, because we see a lot of new reboots in the opposite way, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, where it's dramatic shows within a comedic take, like 21 Jump Street. Like that's a perfect example. Like whenever I think about that, where it's like back in the days, 21 Jump Street was a dramatic show, rather than now it's a hilarious movie series with Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. But so like Nat, I think you watched it, right? The trailer.
Yes.
What did you think about the trailer?
You said that you weren't looking forward to this.
Correct.
I have to disagree. I feel like I'm having an open mind to it. The thing that really makes me excited, and I think this is so awesome, is the fact that somebody made this trailer on YouTube and it just blew up and went viral, and I feel like other people would have been like, oh, like copyright strike, like nope, like the companies. But instead Will Smith saw this and he was like so into it, dude. He was like, oh yeah, like that's hot, like this is what I want. This is what I need. And so I just think that it's so cool that somebody who posted this on YouTube is now going to be actually, I think he's helping with the project as well. And so I if you've seen that viral video from, I think it was last year is what happened, that I highly recommend watching that. And I know that I was interested. I was wondering if this was actually going to happen. I know Will Smith brought him on his YouTube channel and was talking to him about it and stuff like that. And so I just think that it's something different. And I'm all for supporting like small, like original creators that having a chance. And so I think that's why I'm so looking forward to this, is that it really opens the door to the possibilities of what the media we're consuming, and the people who are creating it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, like nowadays there's no gatekeepers, really. I mean, like we
Yeah.
can put out anything you want to, and if it gets enough eyes, like there's this fan film of Uncharted with Nathan Fillion. Everyone's been wanting Nathan Fillion to be Nathan Drake for years, and finally they did this amazing fan film. Amazing.
It's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal, and I will send it to you, Nat, after the show.
Okay.
But it's absolutely fantastic, and it really encapsulates the actual like the feeling of playing an Uncharted game. Like you get the cutscene or whatever, and then it does this really cool like camera shot to where it kind of looks like you're in the video game, like you're actually like playing the character. And then Nathan Fillion's just amazing. Nathan Fillion being Nathan Fillion.
Absolutely. Shout out to Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, I know you're probably listening, Nathan Fillion. We love you. Jazz Joss says the Fresh Prince made dramatic just sounds like some weird version of the Fosters, and I have to agree. I really do have to agree. But Dan, being someone that has not seen the trailer, but you know the idea of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, how would you feel about it going into a more dramatic take?
I mean, I feel like this is a perfect example of what I was talking about with, They Live in the Goonies, where if something is a classic, if something is good as it was made originally, it shouldn't be touched. Like if they touched Ghostbusters, and, no hate to any of the actors or actresses that performed in that movie, but that movie was incredibly lackluster. If they ever went for Back to the Future or any of the other classic 80s franchises like that, it would not be good. And I feel like this is a perfect example of that. I know that Will Smith is on board with it, and, sure, I guess. But I watched Fresh Prince as a kid, and it gave me, as a kid growing up in like the early 2000s, insight of what it was like to have a good time in the 90s. And I really enjoyed it. And I even, I still watched it when they showed it at Nick at Night. When I was in college, like my first year of college, I would watch it at Nick at Night at like 11 p.m. or whatever it was. And I still enjoyed it. It's a great show. It's a great pastime. It's one of those classic 90s sitcoms that will never, it's timeless. It's absolutely timeless. And turning it into a drama, I don't know how they could do it to where it could be compelling and still have
watch the trailer, and like you can kind of see where they're gonna go.
Okay, see, and I'm willing to watch the trailer with an open mind. I absolutely am.
If you've seen the scene, like that, the most famous scene where it's between Uncle Phil and Will Smith, where it's like, why doesn't my dad want me? That scene, that's literally what that trailer kind of gives off. Where it's gonna be more of the actual, like, rather than in the sitcom where it was like Will Smith kind of like just living in Bel-Air, and like he's like the fish out of water sort of thing. This one's actually him, like, oh, like I literally have to get out of West Philadelphia, and I have to like go live with my aunt and uncle, and see them actually transform you into the man you are today, which can be very interesting. But whatever. But two things into what you said. One, Ghostbusters, the newer one. I'm not a fan of Kate McKinnon. She's like the one person that did not sell me in that movie.
Which one's Kate McKinnon?
She's
the
in like
blonde one.
She's the blonde
The one from SNL?
Yeah, the one that like licks her guns in the movies.
I don't like Melissa McCarthy.
I don't like honestly, I don't really like any of them, to be honest.
I don't like any of them.
Yeah, it's just Leslie Jones gets a little too loud. And then Miss McCarthy has her moments. She's on. I believe Miss McCarthy is actually a really great actress, but she doesn't get the. There's a dramatic drama movie she just did where she's fantastic in. I forgot what it's called. But what's it called? Yeah, I don't think she gets the best scripts in the world anymore. And then the second thing about Back to the Future, Robert Zemeckis has said that he's never going to sell the rights to anyone, not even his children, because he does not want anyone to ever remake Back to the Future. And they said that on they said that very recently. He's like, I'm never going to sell anything from this franchise because it's
good.
Yeah, it's those movies are not perfect, but they're really, really good.
Definitely.
But on the question of that, when I kind of talked about the dramatic turning into a more of a comedic, like 21 Jump Street. Dan, I know you said you probably had an idea of what you would want to be more dramatic to comedic. So I'm really curious to want to know what you would do. Like, what would you reboot in the opposite sort of way.
Definitely. So this show is probably not one that you want to say that you're a huge fan of anymore because of the main actor being definitely under fire for a lot of his past entanglements. And that would be House of Cards.
Oh.
Now, as a political science major, I absolutely loved House of Cards. I think it gave politicians way too much credit. I don't think they're as smart as Frank Underwood, but I think that turning that into a comedy would be absolutely hilarious for people who enjoy like John Oliver or Stephen Colbert's type of comedy, where it pokes fun at current events or political issues. I think that would be a really interesting take, and it could probably poke fun at current administration, perhaps,
like Veep
or
Have you
the
seen
next
Veep?
one.
Have you seen
What's that?
Veep? Have you seen Veep?
No, I haven't.
VEEP with Julie Louis-Dreyfus. Dude,
No, I haven't.
it's fantastic. It's on HBO. So like if you have your HBO after you finish
Nice.
Lovecraft County, watch like the first couple episodes of Veep, and you'll see if you like it or not. But it's kind of like in that sort of vein.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. Honestly, like I don't know if you've heard of the musical A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, but
I have actually.
yeah, it's an absolutely hilarious, show, but it has a very dark, actual story where it's like, is this guy that what's it called? Beep bop boop it up 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 up. I'm saying, okay, this guy that finds out that he's related to this long lost like rich family or whatever, and he tries to get back in. They deny him, so he decides to kill all of his cousins to become the Earl of Highhurst. And
Oh wow.
it's like it sounds super dark, but the way that they do it, like the actor is each of the cousins is played by one actor, so he's just constantly changing out to different like costumes and stuff like that, changing his voice. It's hilarious, and I can kind of see something like that where it's like there's like it's a very serious like the House of Cards is a very serious subject in politics, but it has that very dry, witty humor that kind of keeps it going. That's what.
Yeah.
That I think most like British shows and movies do very well. The dry humor.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Nat, did you have an idea of something that you think would
The
go?
only thing I could think of was Twilight, because I'm currently in a Twilight renaissance right now, and I think it would be like I was such a like twihard. I don't even know if that's what the fans are called, but that's what I call myself. And so I read the books, I watched all the movies, and I just loved the Twilight series. And now watching it, and I've like partially reread pieces of it, I just can't help but laugh sometimes. I mean, I still love it dearly. It has a special place in my heart, but it's just I think there's a lot of potential there. Like I think having like a maybe following like a new Cullen inducted to the family. There's so much like weird stuff going on. Like they're siblings, but they're like together, and then or even maybe following like the cast as the teachers or something that teach the Cullens, because there are so many things that like they do in school that I'm just like, how has no one questioned this? And it's just, I think it'd be kind of funny to poke holes at Twilight, which already has several
so many
holes
holes.
in
Yeah.
there, but yeah.
Swiss cheese, we call it. The Swiss
Yes.
cheese of vampires.
Jazz Joss says Downton Abbey, but as a dark comedy. That sounds
I'm
interesting.
watching that right now.
I've never
I'm
seen a
in
single
the
episode
middle
of it.
Downton Abbey.
But speaking of shows, I don't have a transition for this. I was trying to. But
All right.
yeah,
I was like,
sorry.
where's
We're doing great.
Where's he
We're
going
doing
with
great
it?
so
No,
far.
I'm gonna skip over the second one because honestly, I feel a little bit more passionate about our third story. That I was screaming in my room when I read this news story. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's another reboot. So, okay. So
It's the episode of reboots.
yeah, it's just an episode about reboots. It's in the title, so there we go. It used to be
Fair
Fall
enough.
Guys, but I promise I changed it. All right, so the creators of the Avatar: Last Airbender original television show was very involved in this new live action recreation of the show. and they have just currently stepped away from it. I'm just gonna read something that Nat put here. This is not the first time we've seen creative directors step away. Back in 2018, Percy Jackson author Rick Riordan published his own lengthy blog post about the issues he faced early in production of the first live-action film, stating when he saw the final script and saw what they were doing on set, I realized I had to step away for my own peace of mind. Other creatives like Alan Moore from The Watchmen, Swamp Thing, and V for Vendetta have completely despised their live-action versions, and Stephen King with projects like Children of the Corn and Lawnmower Man. How do we feel about this departure, guys? I mean, I'm honestly, I don't want to say that I'm okay with it because I'm not. I had no faith for this from the beginning. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm an avid person that not everything. I don't know if you saw my tweet. I tweeted out very angrily. I'm gonna look up the tweet because I want to read like word for word what I said because honestly, like it's just how I feel. And I made another tweet today about more original stuff that like not everything. I don't want to tweet out right now. Let's see. While I look for it, Nat, you can go ahead and give your feelings about what you think.
You know, I try to remain optimistic. I was, excited. Netflix has, I figured Netflix would have a great budget. I've seen some of the like stuff that they do in Stranger Things, like the CGI and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, like I could see kind of having more. I mean, I was just trying to be very optimistic, and when I heard this news, I was very disappointed. I just think it's really odd. I just think that kind of, Netflix, when it comes to kind of rebooting and adaptions of things, I think they've kind of made a point and earned a reputation as really kind of sticking to creators' visions with, even though it might be like a little bit different than what they're used to or kind of stray from what they think audiences want. Like, what comes to mind, like, I think of like what is it, BoJack Horseman, but I just think that for them, the creators, like with Netflix current reputation of that and the creators stepping away, it must have been something pretty big creative differences for them to kind of leave this project, especially with Avatar: The Last Airbender being one of the most streamed things over the summer. I just think Netflix would want to do everything in their power, so it worries me. It worries me a lot that it must have been a lot of creative differences for the creators to step away, and I'm very worried to see exactly how Netflix is going to kind of build this world, this character development, this involvement, which is what makes Avatar one of the best series. I wonder how they're going to do that without the creative geniuses behind them. So
very, very well said. So this is the tweet that I wrote out. I said, I'll say it out loud now because I can't say it on the podcast tonight, which was last week. This is actually on Wednesday when we were going to go live. It is so hard to transition animation into live action because animation allows for so much more detail. Not every animated thing has to be live action to have value. And I think that's some... I still stick to these words like through and through because... I have a problem with American entertainment, like overall. I don't think we are the most creative of people, story-wise. Just honestly, just look at the stories that Bong Joon-ho, the guy that wrote and directed both Parasite and God, what is the other one? Snowpiercer. They just did a reboot of Snowpiercer. Two very original ideas coming from Korea, I believe.
Korea.
Yeah, Korea. That's just that, and then like if you think of the entertainment that we get out of Japan and stuff like that, like these people that they go out so far out, and especially in Japan, I'm gonna give a lot of credit to anime. I used to rip on anime so much, but the fact that they can create such original ideas out of just like their own brain, and like trying to bring that to live action, but because Americans love live action for some reason I don't understand. That they can just literally do literally anything that they want, and for as soon as it gets over to the States, people are immediately like, okay, how do we make cash out of this? Like, we make this, and then it's like, oh, let's make cash out of doing it in live action because that's what everyone likes, and that's how we see failures like M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar: The Last Airbender or Netflix's Death Note, and as soon it was not good. It was not good at all, and so as soon as they said that they were going to make a live action version of Avatar: The Last Airbender, I was like, oh, that's the nail in the coffin for Avatar: Last Airbender, because it's just seeing how they adapted Death Note, and Death Note honestly is something that could have been adapted very well. Honestly, I think it could have been adapted very, very well, but it's not the creative sort of. They're not looking for a creativity; they're looking for a cash cow, and that's something that offends me so much with someone that's. I love when people give out creative ideas, and if they do reboot it, do it well. And they're like, as much as I rip on Legend of Korra, there are such interesting stories that come out of it. Some of them may not be as good as Avatar: The Last Airbender, per se, but that's a matter of opinion. But I still give it, I still give it not hope, but I still give it like its props for being original, and what's it called. But yeah, that's kind of like my little spiel about that. I just wanted to talk about this overall because I love animation so much, and I'm tired of people just completely crapping on it, like just like saying that it's for babies or that it's for
they don't respect it as an actual medium of art.
Yeah.
Whereas live action is always seen as the pinnacle of
yeah.
cinema. But I think people really need to sit down and understand that making an animated movie is not something that is simple to do. It takes hours and hours and hours of hard work to make sure that every frame lines up with how they want to portray the story that they're telling. And I feel like, live action takes a whole lot of work, but I think animation might take a little bit more just because of there's an infinite possibility when it comes to animation. You can do whatever you want with animation so long as your hand can draw it. And, you're not restrained to the possibilities of the real world in animation. And I think that's something that should be celebrated and encouraged more in the mainstream industry.
Absolutely, yeah. And like, I don't know, another thing, I'm gonna go on another animation rant.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
Because, like I said, I love animation. I don't understand also the idea that 3D animation is better than 2D animation. And that makes me so upset that people are like, "Oh man, it looks so much better." Like, it's art direction. Like it's the idea of what this person has in their head. And if 3D animation allows for that, awesome. You make a Pixar movie. That's awesome. Like if you see how beautiful Coco is, if you watch it with like an OLED TV and you see the bright, vibrant colors of the Goldenrod Bridge, reaching from the afterlife into the real world. Yes, that's beautiful, but also like think of the animation in man, I had an example right before we started. I was going to talk about it. It's an anime like honestly just even like Food Wars, it's not the most PG of ones or whatever, but like seeing the animation of like the cooking in that show, like that's so in Your Name, you watch Your Name like that.
Ooh.
It's like it's beautiful, it's gorgeous. Yes. And like there is beauty in all different forms of animation, all forms of art, and we shouldn't be subjected to, or we shouldn't have to draw lines between what is art or what is considered a good piece of cinema based off of if it's made with live actors or if it's made with a pencil or made with a computer, and that just, I don't know. I just think that Americans need to learn good storytelling and they need to learn just good directorial style. Because, I mean, I watched before the show also. There's this, what's it called? It's the stunt double for Brie Larson in Captain Marvel. I tweeted it.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And what's it called? And how awesome that stunt coordination looks. Like that's the idea of what the stunt coordinator wanted for this film. But the director, I don't know who it is. I don't really care. I don't like Captain Marvel very much. I said that this is a prime example why more stunt coordinators should direct movies. This is a prime example of how directors can dull down original versions of others into a watered-down movie. John Wick is a perfect example of how a stunt coordinator turned a fantastic made a fantastic movie. And like that's just like that stunt coordinator knew, okay, so this is how I'm going to want to shoot this, blah, 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 blah. And it shouldn't be like everyone should know a little bit about something. Be a jack of all trades, a master of maybe one. like how Edgar Wright's a master of like very interesting transitions, but he also incorporates very interesting things. But I'm gonna get off of my soapbox. I've been talking way too long about this. I don't know if y'all guys have anything else to say about Avatar: Last Airbender or
I
animation.
actually do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Even though I'm not the biggest Avatar fan, I can definitely appreciate the show. As I've said in previous shows, that I have seen a lot of episodes of it, and I do enjoy what I see. I need to go and watch the whole thing. I just needed to go do that. But it's when it comes to animation, I think that like we said, it needs to be appreciated more. And I would love to see whether it be Eastern or Western artists explore that medium more. And me personally, I would love to see a horror movie made through animation. I would love to see an animated horror movie, something that actually chills you to the bone, just like your standard live action horror movie. I think that would be a really cool idea, and I feel like that hasn't really been done before. Yeah, I mean, there's several animes that do incorporate some kind of horror or gore, whatever. Like, I'm a fan of the anime Hellsing Ultimate. I don't know if y'all have heard of it, but that does have some horror in it. There's a lot of gore in it, but I would want something animated that could chill the audience to the bone, make them truly scared, like a live action could do. I think that'd be a really ambitious task to take.
I remember what show I was going to talk about, and it was Castlevania from Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love Castlevania.
How beautiful that animation style and that story is, whatever. Let's see. Jess Jaw says, "Whoa, Dan, you need to pitch those ideas to someone you're about to make coin." Absolutely, honestly,
hell yeah.
Dan and I have been kind of talking about something that we want to work on, but we haven't really done because we haven't seen each other in like a month.
It's true.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's been more than a month. What are you talking about?
It's been a while. It's been a while since we've seen each other.
It's been a whole while.
It's been a whole while, but we've been talking about something that we want to work on. So that has so much potential, like the animated series scenes incorporated in Kill Bill were so intense. Yeah, I mean, like, that's something that I don't like Kill Bill, to be honest. But those scenes are awesome. Like, the backstory of Lucy Liu's character is really interesting to see from that sort of perspective. You can also say, like, that's kind of in, like, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, where, it has, like, those little flashes or whatever, just to, like, emphasize certain points or whatever. But, Kill Bill does it a lot better. Anyways, I don't know. Nat, did you have anything else to say before we move on to the next story?
No.
All right, cool. We're going to get off of our animation soapboxes. Hollywood, listen to us, please.
Please make a horror movie.
Make a horror
as a
movie.
Cartoon.
Just learn animation. Just be good. Just be great. Hire more Eastern people to make stuff, because that's...
And pay them well.
Pay them well.
Yeah.
And don't make fun of them when they win awards. I'm sorry, that's annoying. Anyways.
All right, that's
it. We're done. We're done. We're fine. Woo! But now we're going to talk about the epic battle between Apple versus Epic Game Studios. And this is something that... Epic proportions. This is something that has been very interesting in developing over the past couple of days. I think it's like day 3 or 4 now. I can't really remember. But this is coming from an article that I got off of CNBC, so honestly, please give them the click. They deserve everything that they write. Anytime we reference an article, we try to mention whoever wrote it. But this is from Steve Kovash. The article is called "Apple Removes Fortnite from the Apple Store." So this is a direct quote from what he's saying. The app makers are revolting, and Apple is their target. On Thursday, Epic Games, the video game giant behind Fortnite, challenged Apple by adding new payment options to the game that circumvents Apple's 30% cut of sales takes from developers through the App Store. But there was a twist. Epic apparently knew it would get kicked off the App Store for blatantly violating Apple's rules. Hours after it made that change to its app, Apple pulled Fortnite down. And shortly after that, Epic filed a prepared lawsuit against Apple, claiming it holds an unfair advantage by setting the rules for the only distribution channel for apps on the iPhone. It also launched an in-game event inside Fortnite, mocking Apple's power with a parody of Apple's iconic 1984 Mac commercial. If you have not seen it, while I read the rest of this. It's like a minute long. Go watch it. It's on Epic's page. It's amazing. I love it. Let's see. It was an epic, excuse the pun, troll against Apple, the biggest company in the world as it flirts with a $2 trillion market cap. And it was the latest major tech company to revolt against Apple's App Store policies, hoping to latch onto the current anti-big tech sentiment and use this moment to put a stain on Apple's grip on the mobile app ecosystem. Over the last year or so, we've seen a growing list of companies speaking openly and aggressively about their disagreements with the cuts Apple takes from the App Store. Some of them even used Epic's stunt as another chance to poke Apple. It is crazy out there, y'all. Have y'all seen the video that Epic posted on their Twitter?
I have not.
You have not?
I didn't even know about any of this really till we brought it up for the run of show.
Yeah, it's crazy. So basically, Apple has been doing this for years. Anytime that there is an in-app purchase, Apple immediately takes 30% of those proceeds. So say you buy skins or V-Bucks off of off of Fortnite, 30% of the money goes to there. If like say you buy like Tinder Gold or Bumble Pro or whatever it's called, 30% of that goes to Apple immediately, and that's how Apple has been making a ton of money. But it's been completely hurting, developers, whether it be like small indie games or whether it be big companies like Epic, that it's stripping 30% of their sales completely away. And the fact that Epic took a stand, I mean, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. They can do it. They're not worried about it. I think it's mostly it's just them saying, "Hey, we're gonna take a stand against this injustice
They're
or whatever."
kind of bringing attention to it.
Yeah. And it's not in this article, but also literally the next day, Google also took down Fortnite off of their app store.
Oh wow!
So Fortnite is no longer within basically any mobile stores or whatever. So you can play it on your PC, your like consoles and Switch and whatever. But basically, right now there is no thing, and I believe there's another lawsuit going out. Another lawsuit immediately went out to Google, so they're prepared for other companies to basically retaliate. And I believe that's off of Apple's pressure. Apple basically pressuring Google, being like, "Hey, do this" or whatever. That's what I believe. It's probably not or whatever. But I want to know, what do y'all guys think about this whole sort of anti-big tech sentiment? I know Dan's usually against like throwing down the
Eat the rich.
Yeah, eat the rich. Or
Oh,
whatever.
absolutely.
The rich.
So Dan,
No, that's crazy, man. I didn't even know. Like, I had no idea that this was going on right now. Because I'll admit it. I enjoy Fortnite time to time. I'm not the biggest Fortniter. I don't know. Is that what they're called? Is that what the kids call them these
the
days?
wacky kids.
How old are we?
I know, right? Those are young whippersnappers. But man, I can't believe that they would just completely strip the market of those consumers who maybe their only access to playing the game is through a mobile device, just because of this debacle. I feel like that's a really bad business move, and I think that it's costing both a lot of money. And I think that if they really want to, again, eat the rich, but if they really want to maximize their profits, I can't believe I'm saying that, they should find out a way to accommodate for their own financial gain, I guess. But again, eat the rich.
Yeah. There's a very interesting. I promise. I'm just gonna say this one thing and I'll shut up. But there's this also new idea. It's like, okay, but is it really the rich? Eating the rich, or is it the rich eating the rich? Because it's Epic Games. Like they're they that this is a publicity stunt. They had this trailer literally ready to like throw right into the game. To post immediately on things. So, with that also, Nat, like, what do you think? Like, do you think this is actually like, do you think that this is just a publicity stunt for them to get more V-Bucks, or do you think that this is actually the generosity of Epic's heart? Are they actually fighting for the little guy?
I was like, oh, that's cool. That's I think my initial thought when kind of hearing all this news coming out, I had seen it on Twitter, and then I know we were going to talk about it, so I was trying to see a little bit more what was going on. My first thought was, oh, like they're bringing kind of shedding light on the monopoly of distributing games through mobile, and how Apple and Android are really you know taking money out of their profits. But I at the same time I was like, I now I'm like, oh, what if this is just like a publicity stunt, and it's just you know it's good that larger companies that have the privilege to do this stuff, like you said, Epic Games is a multi-million dollar company, and so they're able to kind of take the risk in like having their game pulled off of the shelf. So if it was a publicity stunt, at the same time we're still getting some good out of it, because I did not know all this was going on. And I'm sure with that lawsuit, I'm hoping something will change that could benefit the little guys, could benefit the small developers. But it stinks when you have no choices, and you're forced to kind of go with these larger companies so that way you can gain access to the large audiences they have, the reach that they have, but you have to pay the price. And so I don't know, I feel like smart business plans would plan accordingly to like cover that cost, but at the same time, if you're an up and coming developer, it's going to be really difficult for you to cover that. So
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Josh says, I think it was more to prove a point to Apple, and it might add it back. Absolutely, I don't think Apple is gonna do this. I'm surprised that it's gone on for 4 days. I thought
wow, I
I
didn't
thought this was
realize
gonna
that.
be like a 2 3 day sort of thing. From what I've heard so far in other news sites or whatever, because unfortunately we only do this once a week. But other news sites continuously 24-hour coverage. But they have said that it's looking like Apple is going to settle. Whether that means that they're going to pay Epic a lump sum, or does that mean that they're actually going to change their practices, that's left to be unsaid, which is probably also going to remain disclosed until maybe some terms of service comes out that we can actually learn about. But I don't have much faith with it happening. I do believe that this was kind of a big publicity stunt, and yes, kind of drawing the idea to it, but I think it's going to take way more than just one company to actually like put their foot down. But I hope everything goes well from this. But before we sign off, Dan, do you have anything else to say about this?
I mean, I enjoy the media that Disney puts out, and I know that sounds like a random thought, but that could very well be the case in the video game industry. You never know when one company is just going to find a way to incorporate all these different IPs into their conglomerate to basically run a monopoly on them. And I again, I play Fortnite. It's fun sometimes, but I don't want to see all these other IPs drawn into Apple or Google or Microsoft or whatever company can find a way to grab all these IPs and basically form a monopoly around it, because I feel like that leaves little to there's little room to grow. And I feel like it's just all these small developers would be living in fear of just eventually one day being scooped up by a larger company and not having the opportunity to do what they want to do for their own games or media, what have you.
Very well said. Well, I think that's going to be enough for us for talk about this week. Thank you very much for popping by. I do want to talk a little bit about some stuff that's going to be coming up. So just to keep you guys interested and having some more stuff to want to check out that we're probably going to talk about next week. So we're going to have the DC fandom coming out. It's a 24-hour event. Actually, I believe they literally today they just split it up into 2 days.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's going to be
Nice.
Saturday and Sunday this weekend. That they're going to be basically everything, talking about the Snyder Cut, Wonder Woman 1984, the Batman, Wonder Woman, Shazam, literally anything, and then a brand new Batman game. and Suicide Squad game actually has all been announced that they're going to talk about there. So we're going to be talking about that definitely next week. Also, next week is coming out The Boys. Actually, is it next week? Yes, it is next week. The Boys season 2 is coming out September 4th.
Hell yeah.
I'm definitely probably gonna binge that all in one day.
Yep.
I don't care
Definitely.
about my classes. I'm going to watch all that in one day. So hopefully we can talk a little bit about it. You don't have to watch all of it, guys, but I definitely am, and I will hold all spoilers for y'all guys. Yeah, The Boys comes out next week, so we're definitely going to talk about that. And I think we're going to talk a little bit more about Fall Guys, because I don't think we got to talk about anything about Fall Guys this week. But if you didn't know, Tim the Tap Man has been constantly ridiculed by the Fall Guys Twitter account and literally, ESPN esports, and then like literally every other esports organization has been making fun of him because he's so bad at the game. But today, after reaching a max viewership of 347,000 viewers concurrent, that he maxed out of that. He has finally got his first win after like 8 hours of streaming. So can we get some Pog champs in the chat for Tim the Tap Man?
Absolutely.
But thank you again for joining us here on the Geekday podcast. You can catch us here each and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. You can follow us on Twitter at the Geekday podcast. I am at Robbie T with 3 E's on Twitter. Dan is at dad_joke Dan.
Oh,
I can't
Lord.
say your thing. I'm butchering it. And then Nat is at Popceptive. And then follow us again on YouTube. Also, if you haven't followed us, we are now on all podcast listening devices. Podcast services. That's the word I'm looking for.
Wherever you listen to audio, you can find us.
You can find us. Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Just look up the Geekday podcast. The audio for this will probably be on tomorrow, given to whenever we want to do it, honestly. But follow us on YouTube if you want to see the VODs. And then, yeah. So thank you again for watching the Geekday podcast, and we will see you next week. Stay geeky, everyone.